Summer racing continues from the spa, and it's the Grade 1 $1 million Whitney Stakes. 8 horses have gathered, including 4 of the top 5 in the most recent Breeders' Cup Classic poll. It's got Vino Rosso, Thunder Snow, McKinzie, and Preservationist taking on 4 more horses for a chance to be the older horse of the meet at Saratoga for 2019. An 8-horse field. Let's start at the rail, and we've got to start off with the complete clown show imperative. The owner just wants attention. We'll move along and not give it to him. Forewarned, also a long shot in this spot, and we'll move to Monongahela. And this horse, he's had a couple of good races, but he's not a Grade 1 horse. So now let's get to the 5 main contenders: Thunder Snow, Vino Rosso, McKinzie, Yoshida, and Preservationist. Now, Thunder Snow is 0 for 4 in America, and that is a key factor because he has raced in some good races, and we still kind of try to figure out where he really fits. The problem is the Dubai World Cup is not a Grade 1 dirt race in America. It's really filled with 1 or 2 good America horses every year, and then it has a bunch of turf horses from Europe and Japan, and really it's not a Grade 1 quality field, but it's got a big purse, and it's an important race on the calendar, but just because you win it does not mean you are the best horse. So where is Thunder Snow? Is he one of the more elite Grade 1 horses in America? Well, he's going to have to win the Whitney in order to answer that question. I just am still a little not sold on him. I thought he ran a really good race, but he did take advantage of the inside rail in the most recent race, the Met Mile. The inside was speed favoring that day, and Thunder Snow ran well, but he was beat by Matole, and then, late, he kind of yielded a little bit of ground. Now, he did show some speed that day, and that surprised me a little bit with his versatility. So Thunder Snow has a good chance to win this. I'm just not sold. I think he's going to be a little bit of an underlay. He always seems to be bet here in America. Meanwhile, we've got Vino Rosso coming off a big win in the Gold Cup. He beat game victory again, another 2-horse kind of field. Before that, he had kind of hinted at some ability at the Carter this year. I thought his best race was last year in the Belmont Stakes. He tried to make a winning move against Justify in that race, and that's where I knew he had kind of a trip out sitting in him here. I think 10 furlongs is probably his best distance, but he cuts back to 9 furlongs for the Whitney, and I think Vino Rosso is going to run a really good race here. He gets some pace to run at with Thunder Snow and McKinzie, and he should be able to lay close enough that if he can put in his kick and continue to train forwardly since his last race, I think Vino Rosso has a chance to win the Whitney Stakes and become the premier older horse in the country. McKinzie, this will be your favorite, 7 to 5. This horse has big expectations ever since last year, and he's never really ran a race that hinted that he is the top dog in the older division. The Ali Sheba earlier this year, great race. It was a Grade 2 though. And he kind of came a little bit slow that day, and then made a mid-race move and kind of put him away late. It was a good-looking win on visually, but on paper it didn't earn that high speed figure. Then he lost a game decision in the Santa Anita Handicap earlier this year. Again, made a bold move on the turn and just couldn't put his opponent away. So he's kind of hinted at some ability, came running late in the Met Mile. That was a strangely run race. I think they were just a little overconfident that day. I'm not sure he thought the pace would be as hot or wanted to be off that hot pace, so they kind of idled him down early, and then he came running late at a mile. This distance is perfect. I don't think he's a 10 furlong classic horse. I think the mile, he could have won with a better trip, the Met Mile. This gets a 9 furlong distance with really only 3 other main contenders and really only 1 other speed horse in Thunder Snow. Maybe Preservationist, who showed speed the last time, but that was going longer, and now he cuts back. So McKinzie, the 7 to 5 favorite, he really has to win this to cement himself as the top older horse in the country. Yoshida won the Woodward Stakes, a Grade 1 last year at Saratoga. That was a big, bulky field. Then ran a nice third in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Where does he fit here in this race? We will see. Actually, 4th in the Breeders' Cup Classic. We'll see where he fits here. I think Yoshida ran a better-than-look race in the Stephen Foster. I thought speed did well that day. You needed to be near the lead. He made a menacing move going into the turn and then just could not sustain his rally. He gets some more speed here. I'm going to pick Yoshida in this spot. I think he's going to get a strong closing finish and has a good chance to win the Whitney Stakes if he can get back to his best form. Yoshida's my top selection. And then on the outside is Preservationist, a big win the last time out against Catholic Boy. Preservationist riding a win streak here, goes up in class, faces better horses in Thunder Snow and Vino Rosso and McKinzie, but now he's got to cut back to 9 furlongs. He really should sit a good trip. He's on the outside of the speed. He has enough speed to lay close, and he's been working forwardly. This is an example of an aggressive move by the trainer. He's running well, he's training well. You put him in against the best horses in the country, and if you can pick up a victory, now you're the top dog in the division. A very competitive Whitney Stakes. We'll find out where Molly put the peaches. We've got some other great race reviews coming up this week. The Mountains of West Virginia, the West Virginia Derby, also the Test Stakes still coming up to be highlighted. And on Friday, we got the Alydar Stakes and the Hall of Fame Stakes. Who do you like in the Whitney? Is McKinzie the top dog in the nation? He will be favored at 7-5. Vino Rosso will get a lot of support. I'm going with Yoshida, but you could also make the case for Preservationist. And Thunder Snow will have a share of backers. Hit subscribe. We've got more race videos, more subscribers, more videos. And remember, leave a note. Who do you like in the Whitney? It's the Whitney Stakes, and it's all part of the Spa at Saratoga, the premier stakes race of the meet for older horses.